You know, I washed my hair yesterday, and of course I washed them with the Sizzle products. I mean, what else? But I remember when I was going to the retail high street shops, and I would buy my shampoo, bring it home, use it, and then later on, of course, I used it on my daughter. My husband used it, and I learned when I started learning about the what toxic ingredients were in the shampoo from the high street, the sodium lauryl sulfate and the sodium lauryl sulfate. The sodium lauryl sulfate being an engine degreaser, and the sodium lauryl sulfate just being a foaming agent, which doesn't have any function whatsoever, only to create a foaming action when added to water. And I remember when I started to learn about the toxic ingredients, I also had used No More Tears on my daughter because I didn't obviously want to harm her eyes. But I realised after listening to Professor Samuel Epstein that it's not what they take out of the shampoo, it's what they add to it. And in adding an anaesthetic that doesn't burn the eyes. But of course we know that the eyes are not just something on the front of the face. Our eyes go right into the back of the brain. So we don't want to be putting anything on our eyes or in our eyes that's going to harm. Number one, harm any of the living the bacteria that are necessary to protect the eyes, but also we don't want to be using any chemicals that have an effect that might go into the back of the eyes, be absorbed in through the skin around the eyes or the face. And of course, then I learned again is that if somebody has dandruff, then I realised that the products that are sold for dandruff, the only thing they do is wash away the dandruff, the scaling skin, but they don't eliminate the problem. So you have to keep using it. Now you've got two problems. You've got skin with pores that are open, and now you have a more vulnerable scalp because now the toxic chemicals can be more easily absorbed. And of course they're absorbed when the head is washed, when it's wet and warm, the follicles in the hair are open, and because these chemicals are carriers with water, then the water opens the pores and the chemicals go in and around the body. And we know that any of chemicals that go in via the skin is more dangerous and more toxic than if you were to put them in through our mouth, because when we eat them through our mouth, there is a chance of them being detoxified before they actually get through to the blood. But as far as the skin is concerned, the skin has immediate access to the blood. Once they go in, they've no way to get out unless they try and through perspiration or whatever means the body then tries to detoxify itself and protect itself, because the body doesn't break down. The body doesn't get sick. Our body will only get sick and will only break down when it's made from the outside. It doesn't happen from the inside, because we are wonderfully and magnificently made. We were made by our Creator in a pristine environment, and unfortunately there's over 82,000 chemicals now being exposed, public being exposed to. And as Samuel Epstein did say, he said the public are exposed and they are without any protection or told. They're just hoodwinked all the way. So when people use the shampoos now, and we've learned, and thank God we have our Sizzle products. We can use them 100%. As I said, it says not one hair on our head will be damaged, and that's a great thing. That's really, really good that the Mowers just make it that we are 100% safe. And a lady I spoke to yesterday, she has on her Facebook page, it's mental health, but an awful lot of people don't realise that the products they use, whether it's the shampoo, conditioner, mouthwash, face creams, face washes, body washes, anything that is used on the skin also has an effect on mental health, not just our food, but also the products that people find in bathrooms. They have an effect on the brain. I remember once buying a body, something for the bath for my daughter Amy. I went back and I checked it many years later after hearing Samuel Epstein, and I saw that there was formaldehyde in the bubble bath. I thought, Lord, as a nurse, I knew that formaldehyde was one of the most toxic ingredients. It was so toxic and so many fumes from the formaldehyde that we had to wear masks before we went near it, and of course with gloves, naturally enough. And but anyway, so that is it. So it causes mental distortions, and mental health can come from it. So we're not only getting it from the gut, we're also getting it from the skin. The other problem as well that people don't realise, and especially in pregnancy, is these chemicals, when they go into the body, there's an overload. The body looks for a dumping ground, and of course, one place it goes is to the breast, the fatty cells in the breast, because it said, well, we'll dump in there to the cells. So it actually, the body then starts to manufacture fat cells in order to provide a dumping ground for these overloaded toxins that are going on the body. And of course, we know then that can lead to very serious cancers. So when these chemicals go into the uterus, we then have mothers getting pregnant, babies being attached to the mother's blood via the placenta, and now the baby is being fed through the blood of the mother, through the placenta. At one stage they did say that the placenta was a barrier, the same as they did say before that the skin was a barrier. We now know that the skin is not a barrier. We now know that the placenta is not a barrier, and we now know that a baby going into a toxic environment is not a good idea. Never mind staying in that toxic environment for 9 months and the mother unknowingly feeding that. And of course then they'll come along and say it's either genetic or it's something that people do. They blame it on the people rather than on the companies that are manufacturing these toxic ingredients and selling it out to the unsuspecting customer. So we have Sizzle and we have Mauer, and we're not just selling another product. The last thing the world wants is another product on the shelves. We are bypassing, or actually replacing all the products that are out there in shops and supermarkets. And we're bypassing it. We're not going to the retail shops. We are bypassing it and buying our products online. And we are then being educated thank God we have the Mauers there educating us. We have live Zooms, and they're keeping us up to date with the cutting edge of science and innovation. And all we do then is we go out and we share the knowledge. We're really messengers. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to hear the message. They want to hear the lies and whatever. But anyway, we go out and we keep spreading the word. That's all we can do. And people are, I think, becoming a little bit more conscious now. And the more we talk about it, the more awareness that is going out there into the world. So we are blessed. We have Sizzle, and how brilliant. Sometimes I have to pinch myself to say how blessed I've been. That I've been 20 years nursing, not knowing, 10 years doing therapies, not knowing, and here I am now for the past 22 years. I really think this company is a perfect company for, of course, for customers, anybody, but also for a therapist or anybody involved in the healing profession. Because after all, we have to heal our relationship with money. The word is out there, money is just being spent. We have to heal our relationship and say, money is energy, as I learned in holistic therapy. Money is energy. It's our energy. Our health has a value on it. So we should be investing in our health first and foremost, and then we can go out and invest in our lifestyle, our house or our holidays or whatever. But the most important thing to invest in is our internal body.